Are you okay? You were in the Senate, you said, sir?
Just a minute.
Oh,
Finished?
yes.
Bon. Alors, what is your question?
You worked in the Senate, is that correct?
As member of the Senate, yes.
When was this?
Oh, between 81 and 99.
Oh, so
And I was member of the Belgian government, of the cabinet, as Minister of Finance, and Minister in charge of the Brussels area between 1980 and 1985.
wow. Now, can I ask you a question? And the United Nations issued a report on the pillaging of the Congo, and the most companies on that report that were pillaging the Congo during the war in the Congo were from Belgium. 3.5 million people died.
We helped the United States during the war.
You helped
with the uranium we gave them. And by the way, the last report of the United Nations says there is no pillaging in the Congo right now.
But during the war, where 3.5 million Congolese died, there was a pillaging in the Congo, and the UN named
artists died. This is the old artist, Chilatendo. He's here. And here you have all artists died. Balibuno, Matufweni, Madonna, Monoko, Mikanza, Ndaya, Yazanga. And all this party here is literature, artists from literature.
Speak French, vous parlez français.
Donc chaque partie c'est pour le secteur bien déterminé. Vous avez ici par exemple les artistes poètes.
Voilà.
Vous avez les poètes. Ici, vous avez donc les écrivains et les musiciens. Ici les sculpteurs. Donc je vais aller jusque là-haut. Et là, les artistes musiciens, vous avez Abedi Masikini, Bora, Emoro, John Boy, Kapia, Kiwakana, Lola, ainsi de suite. Plus les musiciens qui sont morts que les artistes des autres secteurs. Donc chaque colonne devait avoir une composante.
Merci. So, you have sculpture. Viola?
Yeah, I put a hand hand is life, hand is friendship, hand is anglais, langue peu mon boulot.
If parlez français, parlez
Bon,
français.
la main c'est l'essentiel, hein. La main c'est quelque chose qui unit, qui crée l'amitié, qui rend heureux, ainsi de suite, ainsi de suite. C'est comme ça que j'ai pensé à cette œuvre, la main, et ce sont les mains des artistes qui restent éternellement.
On voit bien que c'était pas seulement une seule balle, ils ont sur les balles. On voit ça avec une tâche. Entrer par ici, comme c'est quelqu'un très rapproché, en ce moment-là, il a commis son forfait. C'était ici. Et le directeur de cabinet adjoint qui était là.
We are
The guy from Mauritania wanted.
Oh right, yes, I did promise. I've promised several people actually. I don't remember who.
What's doing?
Very well, very well.
You're with
First Quantum Minerals.
First Quantum Mineral,
Yeah.
Mr. President,
No, that's right.
and you are not with First Quantum Mineral.
Yes, I am. Yes.
You are. You are corporate development. Love. Guess what I want to talk to you guys about? Think of
money?
think of something controversial that First Quantum Minerals has been involved with. Nothing comes to mind that First Quantum Minerals has been involved with that's controversial. Look at the map over there. See the map there?
Yeah, mining, yeah.
Okay. Anything specific?
You're gonna have to give some clues here.
There's nothing that you can think of that First Quantum Mineral has caused controversy in the past 5-6 years. There's nothing that you can think of.
You've been very aggressive about this. What's the story? Ask the question. Ask the question you want to ask.
Okay, so you can't. Okay,
ask the question.
okay. I'm interested about the UN report on pillaging of the Congo.
Yeah, well, and that's. Have you read the final version of the
Yes.
UN report? And do
To resolve disputes between mining companies and African countries and developing countries. One of the most successful resolutions to date was the Canadian case involving Vancouver-based Quantum Minerals that prevented the company from evicting thousands of peasant farmers from mining lands in Zambia. So,
excuse me.
yeah.
Do we know anything about this?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, there's a report that says that you've alleged that you acted improperly in the DRC, and then when you do further searches on the internet,
Yeah.
there's also mention that First Quantum Minerals was trying to evict thousands of peasant farmers from their land in Zambia.
Well, that's very interesting.
So,
It's as you say, it's an alleged. Does it say where?
Well,
If you really want to know.
yeah.
Back in 1998, under Kabila Senior's government, there was a completely formal privatisation of the mining industry put in process, using proper, advisors, big bank advisors, and the whole bit. During that process, we looked at a number of the assets owned by Jacquemines, all Jacquemines assets, right? And we looked at what did we look at first? Geez, a long time ago. Like, certainly Cove and Dima. We put in a formal bid, just like everybody else did. All the other mining companies, we all put in bids that were eventually open. They were sent to Brussels. They were opened and went in front of lawyers and adjudicators, and the whole process had a two-stage process where you produce a technical bid, which was all what you're going to do, actually to refurbish the mines, and then a short list was drawn up from those technical bids, on the basis of which was the best, and so on. And I think they drew up a short list of 5 or 7 or something, and then they opened the financial bid to go in. And the financial bid.
Let me film this if you're explaining this to me.
No. I'm telling you so you've got the background.
Fine.
Okay, to decide whether it's worth doing anything or taking this any further, because it's crap. That financial bid was a bid for $100 million to pay to the government of the DRC in return for an interest. I can't remember what it was, 80%, 70%, I can't remember the numbers. But it was a cash bid for the assets, and it was delivered and addressed to the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Mines primarily, and the Minister of Finance, because that's the bidding rules, that's who you address it to. The investigators in the UN somehow got a fragment of this document and concluded it was an offer of a bribe of $100 million. It was a formal letter of offer to the government of the country, along with every other mining company in the country who had also submitted formal offers. At the end of the day, Kabila said, I can't decide what to do. I'm going to award it to all of you, form a consortium. We all formed a consortium, including all the big mining companies in the world, to redevelop these assets. We had a very small piece of that consortium, I might say. And that's what it's all about. We were bidding in fucking privatisation.
Cannot work in here anymore. It's broken.
Oui, pour le moment, je peux plus travailler parce que vous voyez, comme vous avez vu, les ateliers ont été saccagés pendant les pillages. On a tout emporté. Vous avez vu les fours qui sont complètement foutus. Et maintenant, les raisons pour lesquelles je travaille plus en Europe, en Belgique, en Italie, pour couler mes pièces, mais ici, je ne peux plus utiliser mes ateliers. Parce que pour remettre ça en état, ça demande beaucoup d'argent et j'en ai vraiment pas envie. Voilà le vrai problème. Je veux bien, mais si j'arrivais à avoir un jour une sorte de sponsoring ou une aide de l'État, d'un État quelconque, que ce soit le Canada, la France, la Belgique, pour remettre cette institution en état, pour faire de ça un atelier de formation des jeunes, eh bien, je crois que toutes ces aides me seront les bienvenues. L'important, c'est de donner du travail à la jeunesse. Et il y a de la place ici, il y a tout ce qu'il faut, mais pour le moment, il me faut des gens qui peuvent m'aider, c'est-à-dire surtout l'extérieur, les gens de l'extérieur qui peuvent m'aider. Voilà mon problème. Donc, you said here is fonderie.
Oui.
All mine bronze is here. On les a fait ici. En céramique. Les moules en sable. Tout ça. C'est prêt pour la couler. Après le four. Et dans ce four, on met 600 kg de cuivre et nous faisons les alliages nous-mêmes ici. Alors ça, ce sont les moules. Ça, c'est le négatif. Et le modèle qui est là, on ferme là-dessus, on chauffe la matière et puis on vient couler dans les moules qui sont ici. Donc ça, c'est le noyau. Mais la forme, c'est la forme négative. Donc il faut travailler là-dedans.
Our only message is yes, come back, but this time come back and do things differently. Don't come and dig the gold and the diamonds and send it to Antwerp and send it to Israel or India for cutting. Teach the Congo to cut diamonds. We need to take the individuals were named, companies were named, among all the countries where they were named, it was only Congo itself who expelled people named in the UN report from the government. No other country hasn't taken any steps. None. Of all the countries that were named, whether they were African countries, Western countries, other countries, nothing happened. Again, but the looting of the Congo resource doesn't stop there. You see, one thing I was telling the people at the conference here is this. When a Canadian, or I don't want to pick on Canadians, I like Canadians.
Please do. No, pick on Canadians.
No, I like Canadians. I like Canadians, they're good people. When a foreign company comes to Congo and says, I want to invest in your mining wealth, I want to do this and that, and we give them a piece of paper and say, yes, you can have 10, a space, this is your right to develop this area, and we give him a certificate that he has acquired the rights to develop the mine. You know what most of these companies do? You go to the Toronto Stock Exchange, you go to London, you say, hey, I want to develop a mining in Congo, I need $200 million. He gets $200 million, he goes and does something else with it. He doesn't even invest in the Congo. You see, they have come up with very sophisticated ways of looting the resource. It's not just people coming to dig it and exporting it, but they're also coming up with the financial instruments and the means, and we're following all that. We know all that is being documented. And one day we had to put an end to that, and there will be an end to that. Because you cannot fool all the people all the time, because these people looting our resources, they think other people blindfolded, and you want to be able to fool them all the time. You won't. So those certificates that are being placed into the stock exchange to raise funds, just like the Kimberley process, we finally find a way to stop the country that don't produce 1 carat of diamonds, but they are exporting diamonds. We know them. And we're slowly putting an end to that. So, which means that we as Africans have to take responsibility for these things. We cannot always rely on someone else, the West or the East, to come and solve African problems for us. We have to take responsibility.
How many people? That 40 years after our independence, we keep on, 45, we keep on blaming
Here is no good.
Voilà.
Brian,
Oui.
yeah, it's okay.
Que les gars, eux, ils veulent toujours obstruer le passage. C'est la deuxième fois. Vous avez entendu?
You work with listed companies.
Yeah.
Well, the company I'm speaking about is a listed company.
Yep.
And it was cited in a report about illegal practices during a war that killed 3 million people. And I'm just wondering whether the Toronto Stock Exchange has any procedures to ensure that the companies it lists are acting morally responsible, especially mining companies in Africa, whether there's any procedures that listed companies on the TSE have guidelines for responsible conduct to be listed. So that's the type of information I'm looking for. Ask you for a meeting.
Il est venu un an. Au Sénégal, c'est comme avant. Donc, vous avez fait le rapport à qui le droit, il a dit essaie de récupérer ses œuvres, même s'il lui aurait acheté, mais il est resté ici. Non loin de vous aussi, ici à l'intérieur du Congo. Allez visiter. Ça, je dis à qui de droit, mais dans ce pays, c'est comme si on avait peur des uns et on pouvait agir autrement pour les autres. Nous avions imprimé beaucoup de bouquins, surtout à l'époque de Mobutu, comme il finançait, on a réalisé beaucoup de choses et avec les Bali Bangalais.
On a arraché.
C'est pas vrai. Moi, je croyais que le bas-relief était resté.
Non, le bas-relief était emporté. Cette œuvre amputée de mort.
Uniquement pour ce que le bas. Oui, les joueurs de flûte.
First flutist? You're first.
Yeah.
You're very first.
Yeah. C'est en 60. You see?
71.
What happened to it? It was destroyed?
C'était par des soldats. Enfin,
On ne sait pas.
je pense qu'ils avaient besoin du bronze. Hein.
Oui, c'est ça.
Ils avaient besoin du.
Vous voyez encore l'imperfection de la fonderie ici, qui n'est pas capable de rouler, de rendre. Et j'essaie de retravailler, mais c'est le premier. J'ai eu d'abord la première commande, c'était le monument de l'Ancien. Et puis après, la deuxième, c'était le bas-relief. Et puis, c'est ça qui m'a propulsé. J'ai pu m'acheter une voiture.
Avec cette œuvre, hein?
Oui,
avec la commande.
Et avec les trois autres.
Donc, c'est aussi le. C'était quoi le titre?
Le militant.
Les militants, oui. Les militants.
Et
La joueuse de la flûte.
Et puis le bas-relief. Quand on a commencé à construire. Non, c'est pas bon. C'est malheureux. Quelle histoire les gars nous ont
Ils ont commencé à me voyer.
Ils voulaient couper la tête. Donc ils étaient bien équipés.
Oui, ils étaient bien équipés. Oui.
Donc ils sont venus avec une tronçonneuse.
Oui.
Aussi.
They tried to cut the head off.
Yes.
They tried to cut the head off of art. C'est imbécile.
Non, il faut que je vienne avec les amis ici, qu'on fasse un peu l'histoire de tout ça.
Oui, je pense. Oui. Mais toute une émission, en fait.
Oui,
une
si
émission.
vous l'autorisez.
Oui, comment? Une émission que l'on réalise sur ceci.
You see, in this
In fact, I was also on in one phase. I was also a member in that panel of experts in 2001. This concern is absolutely valid, but please do remember that MONUC does its job or task as mandated by the Security Council. Now, this aspect of illegal exploitation is not part of her mandate, strictly speaking. Yes, good governance is. It has been put only in the last resolution, and as Ambassador Swing said, that we are now trying to work with the government to arrive at an understanding. But illegal exploitation is not part of MONUC's mandate. If the Security Council so decides, then maybe they will put it in the mandate, but then they have got to also provide the resources. You know, to Monook. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
May I ask a follow-up question?
There, I think we're all on the same wavelength. In point of fact, as you know, the Secretary General has just reappointed the group of experts who are looking into the issue of the illegal exploitation of natural resources, which I think your question implies, and I believe, and we know is still going on. And it is something that needs to be receiving top attention. I think a group of experts is doing that throughout the region. They've just been to the Congo, they've been to Uganda, they've been to Rwanda, and they are making a new report now on this issue. And then it will be up to the authorities in New York at the UN to take action on those recommendations it accepts. There are efforts, there's a new mining code, there are efforts to try to strike out corruption. We have just been speaking to the government and working on what we hope would be a new joint commission on good governance, which is specifically designed, among other things, to address the responsible use of the country's wealth. That's all part of it. Obviously, I can't comment on this until I've looked at it, and I'm not the expert anyway, so I appreciate it, and I will look at it, and there's no reason that we couldn't have a further conversation on that after the fact, but I have to see it first. But corruption will be one of those issues in any society, developed or less developed, which has to be receive important attention. We also need to realize that a lot of this will occur after you have a newly elected government. They'll have to be a top priority for them. The question of, there was one question I didn't understand.
Par exemple, 1000 francs. Ah, il y avait 5 000. Comme ça, ça avait 15 000. Comme ça, 18 000. Moi, je dis, voilà, c'est 18 000. Moi, ça va être 2 000 ou 3 000.
Ne comprenez pas. Merci, merci.
Moi aussi, je te fais une là.
J'étais très content d'avoir réalisé ce tableau-là de terre vraies parce que ça s'englobe tout ce que les Congolais se disaient et qu'avoir cette opportunité qu'un Congolais le fasse, c'était un grand plaisir pour moi.
Bon, ce qui est biso mbale, biso na golo mwana mpe na mondo ya bato ozala très. Ok. Allez, bye.
In Congo?
Yes, and just now I explained to her that's Leopold II.
Oui.
He say to build this monument, this museum.
Oui.
And that Belgium, in this period, the Belgium, how can I say that? I don't know, I can't say it in English.
Say it in French.
Que la Belgique a été très riche suite à l'exploitation, entre autres minières, du Congo à cette époque-là.
Oui.
Que tout ce qui a été construit ici est très beau et très grand et ça vient de l'argent du Congo.
Oui.
And, the king wants that his population see that the animals and plants
Oui.
from Congo to see that as population.
Oui. Is it a problem for you how Leopold was in Congo? Is it a problem?
A little bit.
Why little?
Of one case, I think it's good because very Belgium can go there.
Oui.
And I can't say.
Si Congo.
Beaucoup de Belges ont été au Congo et ont pu exploiter
Oui.
et ramener de la richesse ici.
Oui.
Mais là-bas aussi,
Oui.
les routes, les écoles. Donc ça c'est bien.
Oui.
Mais c'est pas bien de
Oui.
l'autre côté parce que ils ont pas toujours bien traité la population.
Oui.
Et ça c'est quand même pas bien. Beaucoup
Oui.
de problèmes. Oui.
Would you be surprised to know that right now there's many companies from Belgium in the Congo, many companies that are committing problems in the Congo right now?
Now, no, I think now it's different. And all the Belgians of the Europeans and the African people must change her minds and say now it's now.
So it's better now?
It's better. No, all the elements of factor are not the same. So we must build it for a country, but not of what
the past.
In the past. Now it's now, and the future is there, and we must work together.
Are there any Belgian companies there now, though?
Oh, I don't know. I think the Belgians, the works there, they have many, and that's the important, I think.
Right. And did you ever hear about a war recently in the Congo?
A little bit.
Not very much.
Not very much.
Merci.
But we don't know exactly. We don't know exactly what's there or happened.
Why the media is not giving a lot of information?
Yes, but not exactly.
Right.
You say, there are so many people dead. Died, and but that's all. We don't know exactly why.
The reason.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay. Our minister he go to there, and he speak with the Afrikaans minister, and he say we are looking a solution. We believe that.
It's politics.
Yes, it's politics. I think that in Belgium, apart families in the past in the Congo were, and today now interest in Congo, and that families the influence have in the politics, I think.
And they have advantages now, you said?
I think, but I have no
money, like financial advantages in companies. There now,
I think.
Yes, but why do you think that?
Oh, because I've heard something, and I listened to I think people they were in Belgium and they were not rich, and they were in Congo, and when they come back they were rich with boy, and the wife, for example, they came here and they go to a supermarket, and for her African people, and she don't understand why she can't go far and why she must wait. And I think that whole things, what they think about people, black, white people, were changing with when they're in Congo go.
They changed, they turned worse.
Yes, I think.
Problem.
And these are stories that you heard from your mother?
Yes,
right.
from my mom. Yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay.
African art so that he can
It says Royal Museum for Central Africa Reorganization. We cannot accept that this work leaves. It has made us what we are today. It's true that it's sad, but well, the museum does need to be completely organized. This is the acknowledgement of what we were saying.
L'appareil est fermé. Hein. C'est fermé. Ah, j'en profite pas de fermer les yeux. En général, le major bien en général, qui on était à Kitona, du cabinet de...
Look into the store. Alimentation.
Look at this wall, this painting. Put it back here.
Bonjour Liolo. We are going to see a monument of Liolo's at the bank, and we're going in right now to see it. It's going to be a lovely monument. And here we are, and here is Liolo. What's the name of this monument?
Protection.
Oui.
Protection.
Do you want to? Can you explain? You can say
C'est une fresque que j'ai réalisée il y a quelques années qui représente la mer, comme ici c'est la cité de la radio et de la télévision. L'homme qui est debout, il appelle, il sonne le glas, et l'autre fait de la musique, donc ça symbolise l'appel.